This is Mac OS Ken.
India eyes Apple over competition concerns. Australia wants more control over Apple Pay. And your iPhone may be taking power naps. It is Thursday, the 12th of October, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by American Tech Support. Set up and support for businesses and homes for over 20 years. Find out more at americantechsupport.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. If your country is not investigating Apple and Google for possible anti-competitive behavior, are you sure it's actually a country? Word earlier this week from Apple Insider that India is joining that illustrious group. According to the report, the Competition Commission of India, or CCI, is looking into the two tech titans for alleged unfair business practices. The report says the organization is eyeing Google for its alleged dominance in the smart television and news aggregation sectors. As for the Cupertino company, the piece says the CCI scrutiny of Apple is related to its app billing policy. This includes Apple's 30% App Store commission fee, as well as the absence of third-party payment alternatives. Color you shocked. Apple Pay and Google Pay may soon fall more firmly under the rule of regulators in Australia. That country's ABC News says both payment systems will soon have to play by the same rules as credit cards and EFTs at point of sale. The report has Australian Treasurer Jim Chalmers indicating that the regulations would ensure more transparency around costs charged to consumers and businesses and would not result in any material change to how consumers use the digital payment services. Not surprisingly, Apple is not excited about the additional regulation. In past statements to Australian regulators, Apple argued that its payment system should not fall under the credit card rules, since it does not issue cards of its own down under. According to the company, Apple Pay can only operate with an existing debit, credit, or prepaid card issued by a third party. Apple does not have access to a cardholder's account to determine whether funds are available. In offering Apple Pay, Apple does not collect any transaction information. Additionally, the company told regulators that Apple believes the proposed expansion will increase regulatory burden without a net public benefit, give rise to regulatory error, and stifle the dynamic innovation that has characterized Australia's payment systems over recent years. ABC refers to the new rules as draft legislation. The report does not make clear whether Apple has more room to argue. It's also unclear when final rules are likely to be adopted. tvOS played catch-up on Wednesday, following a number of developer betas the day before. A report from MacRumors says Apple has seeded the third beta of tvOS 17.1 to its developer program. Not a lot of whiz-bang expected this time. The piece points out that tvOS updates are often minor in scale compared to other operating system updates, focusing primarily on bug fixes and smaller improvements, rather than notable outward-facing changes. There seems to be something weird going on with some iPhones. According to another report from MacRumors, it looks like some of the devices are turning off at night. Like all the way off, resulting in interruptions to alarms and other iPhone features. Missed alarms seem to be the biggest complaints in a Reddit thread highlighted by the piece. At least one commenter in the thread noted having to re-enter their passcode upon waking. It's unclear whether that was a complaint, though MacRumors says it is a sign that the iPhone in question had turned off. If you want to know whether this is happening to your iPhone, the piece says you can tell by opening up the Settings app, navigating to Battery, and checking the charging status over the past 24 hours. If there is a gap where continuous charging should be, MacRumors says the iPhone was turned off for a period of time. Indications are that the issue is tied to iOS 17, not a specific iPhone model. Not all users are experiencing the shutdown issues, according to the report, nor does it appear to be happening every night. So far, there is no clue as to why it's happening. There's also been no comment from Apple to this point. News of a few cool features coming in iOS 17.1. For iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max users, your action button will be an in-action button in your pocket. The age-old ringer toggle on the side of the phone has been replaced on the Pro end of the iPhone 15 line. Rather than simply muting a phone's audible notifications, users can now assign one of a number of functions to the action button. To activate the assigned action, one simply gives the action button a long press. But that's apparently been happening for some people accidentally when they put their phone in or remove it from a pocket or purse. Enter the in-action button. According to a piece from iDownload blog, Apple has introduced a helpful action button tweak in iOS 17.1 designed to prevent most system functions from triggering unintentionally if iOS detects the device is in your pocket. But what if I'm just glad to see it? According to the piece, certain actions that would make no sense in a pocket or purse will not be triggered by the action button in a pocket or purse. The piece says those include the camera, flashlight, magnifier, focus, and voice memo. Other actions that do make sense, like silencing your ringer you thought was off, will still work in a purse or pocket. iOS 17.1 is also picking up a bit of financial awareness outside of Apple Card. While Apple Wallet has let users add supported third-party payment methods for years, they've mostly been used for paying and viewing transactions associated with that card made through Apple Pay. Now, participating banks in the UK and at least one credit card here in the States are getting deeper integration. Mac Rumors ran a piece a couple of weeks ago on the UK banking changes. According to that, a new integration in iOS 17.1 means users can view their current account balance from their bank along with the history of their deposits and payments. If they have a credit card, they can also view their remaining credit. Inclusion of the info is thanks to an open banking API implemented by Apple. Banks already on board are said by the piece to include Barclays, HSBC, Lloyds, Monzo, RBS, and Starling. MacRumor says more banks are likely to adopt Open Banking API once iOS 17.1 is actually out. And finally today, working along a similar line as the UK's banking thing, another piece from Mac Rumors this week says users of Discover Card here in the States will be able to more easily see their total card balance and transaction history in iOS 17.1. That's thanks to a connected cards feature, though it doesn't sound as cool as the UK's banking thing. According to the Connected Cards report, tapping on one of the listed Discover transactions in the Wallet app will take users to the Discover app or website for more information. Not nearly as cool sounding as the UK banking thing, as I say. But it's better. So far, MacRumor says Discover is the only card connected through Connected Cards. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by American Tech Support. Set up and support for businesses and homes for over 20 years. Find out more at americantechsupport.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.